put this uniform on and come in here and do ROTC and salute the flag and do all that kind of stuff. And then when I take this uniform off and I go back to my dorms or I go back to wherever I'm at, and I'm out there doing stuff that I wouldn't do with this uniform on. Yeah.
I would agree with what you're saying, sir, but like Dave was saying, I think when you were asking why there was so many personal comments as opposed to professional criticism, I think those questions kind of led us into that, where you're tagging someone as a person rather than just a professional setting, because you were asking like about things outside of ROTC. And
I asked one question outside ROTC.
I think that just kind of put us in the mentality of like,
Okay.
some of the comments came.
You're bringing up a great point, so let's talk about it. There are every individual has 3 personas. Anybody ever heard of that before?
Yes, sir.
You have?
Yes, sir.
Good enough. What's the first persona?
The person that you want other people to see you as.
The person that you want other people to, right? So right here, right now, what I want you to see about Lieutenant Colonel John P. Carson IV, this is my first persona. That's what I want you to see. Right? You know what the second persona is?
I don't know what the third one is.
How you see yourself?
How you see yourself.
Huh?
How you see yourself?
The second persona is what you let your relatives and your family and those that are close to you see. Okay? So, for me, Lieutenant Colonel John P. Carson, I have a nickname for my wife. Her nickname is Hoopus. Okay? I have nicknames for all my kids. Yeah, it's from Jaws, from Mr. Hooper. Long story, but that's her nickname. Okay? Let's see. What else about my second persona? I still play soccer on the weekends in a men's league, but I hate it, and I'm getting old and slow. And I want to quit, but I'm not going to quit her, so I just keep playing. But anyway, those are all the things that I let people in that I care about, let them see about me. Okay, and they're kind of embarrassing sometimes, that kind of thing. So, Cadet Buck, what is the third persona?
How you see yourself, who you really are, who you think you really are.
Okay, how else can you say that though? What you don't want
When
anyone.
you're alone.
Yeah, what you don't want anyone else to see about you, right?
The stuff that happens behind closed
The stuff that happens behind closed
doors.
doors, the stuff that, you only know about. And you would never, ever, ever share that with anybody. That's your third persona. Now I just want you to take a second and think about that. Okay? Seriously, I want you to think about that. Okay? What is it you do by yourself? What is it, how you think, how you carry yourself, everything that you do when no one else is looking? Okay? Easy ones to think about for males are what? What? What's an easy one? How much porn am I looking at?
Your internet browser history.
Guys, we should be able to talk, okay? That's an easy one, right? So my point is the third persona, okay, for an individual is that person that who you are, okay, that you want anyone to know about. So back to your question, Cadet Wynn, and yours about this personal thing. It is absolutely important to me, and it should be absolutely important to every single one of you to kind of have an understanding of who you are outside of this classroom, who you are outside of this university, who you are outside of this uniform. Okay? I have to trust you in every single aspect as a leader, as a commander down the road. If you walk into my talk or come to my Humvee and say, sir, we just, or what happened on your operation? Well, we had a couple of things going on. Did anyone die? No one died. And then come to find out I had 4 Iraqi civilians that were killed because you ran over them in your Humvee. Or one of your lieutenants did. I need to know that. You know what I'm saying? You can't hide that kind of stuff. Someone's third persona would hide that. Okay? Someone's third persona would allow them to hide that. So when I asked every one of you guys, hey, does this individual abide by what is right by this uniform in our country and everything that we stand for? You know what I mean? That we know is good and evil in this world. Hey, does this cadet do what's right outside of uniform? Or is this cadet just, in front of all of you, a fake, a phony? Does he do immoral or illegal or unethical things outside of being in the military? Okay? is that individual, after having 4 or 5 beers, gonna get in the car and drive home? Because that's that third persona that's gonna come out, right? I can make it.
Or allow his brother to drive home.
I can make it, man! Yeah.
Sir, just a question, is there a reason why the peer eval was a strictly yes or no rather than scale?
Yes, so it was easier for me to go through and do a statistical trend analysis in order to provide some data for people who absorb information that way, like that pocket.
Because we changed it, we actually had and I think it's confusing as all hell, to be honest with you, but it's most likely, most definitely, most of the time,
It was 1 to 5.
most on Wednesdays, most on Thursday. You know what I mean? It's one of those, like,
Always
you
on
know what I mean?
Saturdays.
1 through 5, like the normal online things you take, right?
I just thought that, I kind of found a lot of the times when it came to questions like that, again, I found it more subjective because I don't know them
Yes.
well enough personally
Yes,
outside.
I agree, but is integrity yes or no? Is there gray?
No.
Is there a scale in that? Is there a scale in the third persona, or is it,
No, sir, it's just I didn't know them outside of.
that's okay, that's okay. We've already kind of established that that middle 50% is gonna kind of just work itself out, okay? Were you gonna say something?
Well, yeah, I was just gonna say, but even on some of those ones, I don't know, I just didn't answer that one line.
That's fine too. Hey, you know what? I really haven't had an opportunity to observe Cadet Johnson, and you know what I mean? And I really don't feel comfortable saying anything about it, because I have no idea. You know what I mean? I plan on spending more time with this individual so I can provide some constructive feedback down the road. I don't know. Don't fake the fun, right?
No, well, I kind of felt that question also would bring it into their professional world. Like, if you obviously do something outside or personal, we know each other, I think, long enough to where you either hear it or talk about it or a third person. Honestly, sometimes I don't even really talk to the person, but I hear stuff, and that also tells you a little bit about, like, personal conduct.
Yeah. Got more to jump in here, buddy. I want, let's get them some statistical data based on what they thought about each other. Hey, we gotta transition into the class, because like I said when I came in here, this is an important class for you. This is a great discussion to have, and I think ultimately, I want you to understand that when you commission and you walk out this door, it's bigger than you, okay? You two could be serving together in combat on the same flank, melting at the same time, relying on each other to bring each other home. Hey, Mitchell, here you go. You two, okay? You 5, okay? So my biggest message out of this thing that I caught is that you guys don't like each other, and that's, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but man, you need to respect each other. And you need to be able, we can't just say we're a team, you know what I mean? And when we're not, okay? So I'm asking you guys as professionals to continue to find a way to work together, okay? And to give each other constructive criticism and help each other out, okay? Because here in about a month and a half for some of you, it's gonna really matter. And also here in about 6 months from now, it's gonna matter even more for most of you, all right? Were the peer evals, I'm gonna go back real quick, were the peer evals that you did, Cadet Baker, at Ranger School, and this has nothing to do with Ranger School, but the effectiveness of that peer eval, what happened there?
It's extremely effective because you can get kicked out.
You can get kicked out. Okay,
Is that a recommendation?
I want you to say that one more time. It's extremely effective because,
Yeah, there's some weight to it because you can get kicked out.
and the stress level that I'm assuming were under during that time frame really allowed, do you think third persona to come out in a way? Oh yeah, right?
Mostly in third persona.
Mostly third persona. Okay,
I
so
agree completely.
understanding what, Cadet Baker just said about that, what was our percentage of cadets that felt that they weren't worthy of even commissioning?
48%, sir.
So listen to that.
Self?
No.
No, so
Half of you, go ahead.
48% of you, at least 3 people identified were not worthy of commission, had not earned their commission.
Wow.
So is that true?
That's not for me, this is like not for me to say. Whether somebody is, who am I to say if I'm worthy, if you're worthy to commission? I don't,
Same thing for living honorably though.
I don't think
56% don't, apparently, according to you, according to your peer evaluation.
That's a good question.
That part, sir, I went off of cadet commands. I mean, cadet command lays it out, what requires of you to be able to commission. I didn't keep it subjective, I just said, you know.
Oh, so
Okay, so when you were like, hey, this person doesn't know how to swim yet, so yeah, they had, that, I didn't count that.
Well, I didn't.
That's not-
Do you know what cadet command's, minimum requirements to commission is? This is important, write this up there, please. Well, you know what the GPA is?
2.0.
2.0. What's the PT score minimum?
180?
180, 60% in each category. Now, what would our Army look like if that's what we were doing?
OTM.
Huh?
OTM, sir.
By what?
OTM, drink CLC, sir.
It would be your OTM?
Yes, sir.
CLC?
My old team.
Yeah, that is a shame.
That's an absolute tragedy.
I just want to go back to that because you had a great question there. Listen, some of this was subjective, okay? Because I care what you think, look. I care what you think. I want to know what you think. You know what I mean? And I'm trusting you that you're going to provide me some feedback on Kreidler. Because I don't see Kreidler every day. You do. You know what I mean? Not every day, but right, you see him a lot more than I do. And then also, I want to be able to tell Kreidler, hey Kreidler, check it out. So there was some constructive criticism that some of your cadets came up about you. Here it is. Let's talk about it. What do you think? Yeah, you know, you're right. That's one of the things I've been working on. I suck at it. You know what I mean? Let's keep working on that, right? Does that make sense? That's what this is about. Okay, it's just keep getting better. All right, what other statistics you have, brother?
This is one that you probably will all agree with, that 58.9% of you don't communicate effectively. You're all probably gonna.
Yeah, higher than that.
Higher than that, okay.
I can't believe that, you know.
And that you're so accepting of it. That's what boggles my mind, that you're like, it's higher than that, and all you're kind of like, yeah, but you're not doing anything to change it.
Who knows what a Britannica is? Who knows what a pencil and a cassette tape have to do in common? Who knows? Well, I ain't done yet. Who knows what an atlas is?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you know, the last class, someone would never even use an atlas. Well, I've been in my whole life, I don't need an atlas, I don't even know what the hell that is. Yeah, well, my point is, in today's technological age, the ability to effectively communicate is like in our face every day, right? And you guys still suck at it. But we're gonna work on it.
According to your peer evals, only 1/3, so 33.3 going on forever percent pursue excellence. Only 48% of you think that you take ownership of your duty position or whatever. The comments kind of got interesting there, whether they take ownership of their failures or they take ownership of their duty position. The 39 of you only believe that 46% of you will actually make the Army a better place. This is very powerful, right? When we were reading this, I mean, I was like, holy crap.
So one of the things that go ahead, Ted, what do you got a question?
I was just gonna say, sir, I thought there should have been another option for like, whether you make it a better place or a worse place, or like neutral, because that was kind of a weird one, where like, do you make
So-
it better, or is it just kind of
So
neutral?
neutral, yeah, but I mean, that's not what we want from officers, right? So that's why we designed the questions. I mean, they are yes or no questions. Because in all reality, there shouldn't be a sliding scale for morale or integrity or any of those things. It's either you have it or you don't. You're gonna make the Army a better place or you're not. There's no third direction.
Hey, so one of the things that we'll do, and you can come talk to me about it anytime you want, because everything that we try to do with this program is make it better for the next class every time, you know what I mean? But historically, what we have seen is that there will always be cadets that are the horses, okay? And there will always be cadets that aren't, okay? And the cadets that aren't, or the cadets that are the horses that actually, do everything, they're like, hey, I've earned, our feeling is, man, you've really given 110%, right? You have worked your ass off, and I don't want to say earned a commission because that's not right, because no one ever earns it. We earn it every day, or deserve it. But so how do I tell that cadet who's given 110% every time? How do I tell that cadet that the cadet over here who gave 10% deserves that commission like that cadet does? do we find the cadet that's given the 10% and get that cadet that's given 10% up to that cadet given 110%, right? Because we all know those horses, and we all know those ones that aren't, right? So why the hell am I gonna give 110% for a year, or for how long I'm in this program, and this dude ain't, and this dude's gonna commission just like me? So what we try to do all the time, and this is where our feedback is great, as you move on and go do great things for our country and our nation, is how can we get better? How can we solve that problem? Because we sit and talk about that problem all the time. Because it's unfair, isn't it? Is it? I don't know. Is it or not?
It is.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, it might be unfair, but I volunteered for this,
Okay.
and I'm gonna get my commission.
Okay.
Hopefully. So I'm gonna work my ass off for it.
Okay.
And if nobody else in Cadet Command works their ass off for it, I'm still gonna get what I get.
Okay.
So I signed up for this job, I'm gonna do what I can. I'm not gonna care what other work people are putting into it and get upset
Okay.
about them not putting in
That's
as
a
much
great.
work.
That's a
as me.
great way of looking at it, Cadet. That's a great way of looking at it. I couldn't agree with you more. Any other opinions on that before we get into this class? Yeah.
Like, what Baker and you, sir, were talking about Ranger School, like, if there's actually a punishment for being, like, recommended that 48% of the class doesn't commission, that there's like, I don't wanna say a review board, but they actually sit down and initial counseling or something that says, if you don't improve into the, at least top 24 or top 30% of the class, then we're gonna remove you from the program. And then half the class would be gone ultimately, but, I mean, at the same
See,
time.
I think that if we do that, none of you are gonna be honest, because none of you are gonna be responsible for kicking someone out of this program. That's what I think.
But at the same token, sir, no one would wanna work with someone on their team, which is one of the yes or no questions. I wouldn't want someone on my team that's a dirtbag, and I wouldn't want, if I was the dirtbag, I wouldn't wanna be in a team of people that were highly functioning soldiers.
So how do we? Look, we cannot solve that. How do we fix that then?
Because you're gonna run into that in the Army too,
Absolutely.
all the time.
So how are we going to do that? I'm gonna point to the word. I'm telling you, man, that is the C word, the key word. And not just communication, but effective communication.
Which only half of you are good at.
And respecting each other, We go back and forth all the time, the cadre and I, on best practices and how to ensure. I want every single, my goal in life is to see every single one of you walk across that stage. Every single one of you to walk across that stage, right? And I want you to be better than when you came here. And I want you to understand that it ain't about you, it's about your brother, your sister on your left and your right. That's pretty simple, man. You know what I mean? It ain't about you. And those are those things that you're not gonna get in a commissioning source or an ILBC or all the other crap, right? And that is the first thing that someone can tell about you. That's the first thing someone can tell about you when you walk in the door, and how you carry yourself after the first month of being in my organization. Whether you just you're just here because you care about yourself, or you're actually here to make the unit better, actually care about your brother, sister, and left and right. That's what's wrong with the Army, man. All right. So back to your little question about a review board. Half of you said the other half shouldn't commission. Half of you said the other half should not commission. That's bullshit. So communicate, help each other, okay? Look at each other. Don't look at me, look at each other, help each other. All right? You're gonna be standing up there, commissioning with each other, going off and serving your country together. Yes, ma'am.
Sir, I think people may believe they're communicating or may believe they're helping.
Yeah,
Like, oh yeah, I turned this in for you, but
Right.
don't go that extra mile.
okay?
And one captain told me, in a group of people, like, yeah, you may be helping that person in anything, but if you picture them as your significant other or
Right.
as like your parents or something, then you try to go that extra mile and give that extra care.
Yeah, if you respect them, absolutely, right?
So like, when I try to be with people, I try to think of them as something like more,
Yeah.
and it makes me want to like,
Go, take an extra step.
yeah. So I think if people start changing that mindset instead of like, you're just my friend or my person that I sit next to in class, then
Okay.
you know.
Hey, you wanna hear something real quick? this is shameful on me. So in the spring, you guys are gonna read a book called The Way of the Shepherd. Powerful book. Some of you already read it if you were in my class before. Some of you already read it? I think Cadet Pack read it already.
He cites it once or twice.
Yeah, exactly, as well as on Campbell Vibration. That's awesome. You should read books, but, so, you know, I was professionally embarrassed in class today. Can anybody tell me why the PMS was professionally embarrassed in class today? Anybody? As a professional, I was professionally embarrassed. Nobody? So, I turned around and asked a question. Remember that question? What was that question? Somebody's gonna get it. I was sitting right here, they were briefing, I turned around and said, how many of you are, or have families in the Philippines?
And you didn't know the answer, sir? Is that what?
No, he asked.
I saw that there was a massive typhoon in the Philippines. Saw that watching the news the other night. But I never clicked in my head, shit, I probably have some cadets that probably have families in the Philippines. And I probably need to ask how their families are doing. Right? Would you have liked for me to ask you how your family's doing in the Philippines? So I was professionally embarrassed today because I didn't think that way. I didn't think about that when I saw that. Going that extra step. All right? So I try to stand true to what I tell you guys to do. And you'll learn that in the way of the shepherd, you know, about how to be a shepherd of your people and always get to know, you know, who they are and all that kind of stuff, okay? Because if I would have known that who else Philippine families? Families in the Philippines right now. Okay, so if I would have known that, right, beforehand, because I've talked to Boomlog, you know what I mean? We've talked about your family. I've taken the time to do that, or Membrary, or you know what I? If I'd have done that, then I would have easily sent you a note and say, hey, I hope everything's going okay, let me know if you need it. True? That's the kind of leader I want you to be. You know your people, reach out, go that extra mile. Okay? All right, let's do this day class. I'll run slides for you. Yeah. Okay, remember when I said when I first came in, and everything that he shows you on this is non-attributional. So, for those of you who don't know what that means, it means don't steal it and copy it and cut it and paste it. And you get to kind of see what a badass Captain Morgan is.
All right, team, so what we're gonna go over today is career management. And
Is the guard and the reserve one? Is the guard and reserve ORB different than active duty ORB?
slightly.
No? Okay.
I mean, there's some
Slightly.
entries that are, we don't have DUIs, we don't have some other stuff.
Okay. Hey, just so you know, Major Cox, I have a couple of National Guard cadets that are gonna come see you about what their 5-year plan and some of the things they can expect as they commission and go in the National Guard and their timeline for their first 5 years,
They
okay?
have that on some spreadsheets.
No, raise your hand. So, Numa, no, who's that? Yeah, yeah,
I can get the papers.
okay, and then Amperan as well.
All right, team, so we're gonna go over some, basically some statistics, all right, to talk about why ORBs are important in managing your career, and then eventually why evaluations are important, okay? So inside the folder on Blackboard, which you all call the black hole we discovered, you know, a couple weeks ago, there's actually a couple of briefs in there. There's a G1 brief from 25th ID that Colonel Shibata gave last year, or Colonel retired Shibata. There's also an example branch brief. So what your branch managers will do, they'll go around to every post every year, and they'll give a brief which basically updates you on what your branch is doing and what to do to remain competitive, okay? Even though we're gonna talk about all this, what you need to do to remain competitive, do not take this as you need to, let me take that back. Don't take it as anything other than the fact that you need to be a part of the team. Worry about your team, okay? And this stuff will help take care of itself, all right? Your evaluation and all that stuff. So, everyone knows that the Army's drawing down, right? The whole military's drawing down. So the goal is 4,500K, or excuse me, 450K. So right now, we are about right in here. Okay, right on the cusp of 490. We still have 40,000 more soldiers left to lose. Okay, and we at our height, we were at 566,000. So the Army's drawing us down in a bunch of different ways, okay? There's a bunch of different boards that look at people's files and determine whether or not they're actually gonna be valuable as far as, or retainable from a potential standpoint, because the Army promotes on potential, okay? And a number of other different ways, such as promotions, denying people promotion, okay? Because as an officer, you're gonna get 3 looks for promotion, okay? You're gonna get your below zone look, which means that's a year early, okay? A year earlier than the Army says you should be promoted. Your primary zone look, which is where the Army says, hey, listen, you're right on your glide path. And then you're above the zone look, which means you're a year late, which is very, very rare.
That only starts at the captain, right?
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that until later on, guys. So, those are different methods that they use to,
What's the so what of this? Why did Captain Moore show you this?
With the smaller force there, it's gonna be more competitive to
Okay.
get promoted.
Yeah, it is, and I gotta be honest with you, I mean, DUI, integrity, sexual harassment, looting property, I mean, you know what I mean? Don't give your employer a reason, okay? Because that's how easy it is these days, okay? That's how easy it is. The property accountability class we had last week, man, we're gonna keep putting property accountability stuff on there, okay? Because you show a pattern of not being able to account for equipment, in your promotions coming up, bam, gone, okay? Alright, so the Army is, I don't wanna say it's a dog eat dog, man, but you're responsible for your career.
It is competitive. It's not a bad thing that it's competitive. That means we're trying to keep the best people here. But here's a perspective that a lot of young officers don't understand. Chrysler, do you think you get promoted? Do you think when you get promoted, do you know, when there's a person that selects you for promotion, or a board that selects you for promotion, do you think that you're the one that's getting promoted?
No, sir.
Then who do you think's getting promoted? No.
The position.
What?
The position.
The speech is there?
No?
It's a people below you, sir.
No. Okay, we're getting wrong on that thing. I asked it wrong. It's your packet. It's a bunch of pieces of paper that go to a board. It's not you standing in front of a bunch of people, or it's not a bunch of people that you've worked with for years and years and years that understand that Cadet Farley is valuable and he needs to get promoted. Instead, it's a packet from a bunch of people who generally don't know you, okay? Who more than likely will not know you. Those are the ones, that's what ends up getting you promoted. And that's why all this stuff is really important. Thanks. Okay? All right, so this red line that you see here, that is what the Army's goal is for attention, for officers, okay? So right for you guys, looking around 4,000 for year 0, second lieutenants, okay? And you can see how quickly that starts dropping off, okay? And right now, you guys are looking good. So Cadet Command is actually pulling in the amount of people that they want, okay?
I just wanted, so do you have a timeline coming up?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm just kinda seeing.
All right, so what does the Army use in order to decide whether people need to get promoted? Leader development and talent management. You guys heard this before? Vader, talk to me about leader development a little bit. What do you think leader development is?
See how you have progressed as a leader over time.
Okay. All right, that's right. Anyone else? What do you think?
Things that you've done to develop yourself from a personal and as well as within your job. So schools, training that you've done, anything that's gonna be of value in how you develop as a
Okay,
leader.
great. Exactly right. Does anyone remember the Army Professional Development Model? There's 3 parts to it, right? Who remembers that? What are those parts?
Institutional.
Institutional, which means what?
School.
School, right? BOLIC, this. What else? Operational, what's operational?
Operational is basically your job or anything that pertains to your job to develop yourself.
That's right. So on the job training. And then there's one more. The one that most people in the Army get very wrong.
Personal.
What? Personal, what do you mean?
Like you pursuing other education outside of the Army to develop yourself as a person or.
Okay, yes, they call it structured self-development. Structured self-development could be, yes, college classes on your own. It could be as simple as reading books, okay? I actually, when I look at my structured self-development, I actually put that in to my OER support form when I'm talking about my goals. this year, or, you know, I want to read this many professional books every quarter, or something like that, or what the topics are on, okay? As a part of my structured self-development, right? And then there's talent management. What is talent management? What do you think, Ken? What's talent management? As you rush to try to read the screen. In your words, even after you read it. Okay, let's talk about, why does the Army promote? Who's heard promotion before? Yeah, who's heard promotion orders before? What are they saying? Does anyone know? Potential, yeah, leadership potential. That's right. What was that? Go ahead, Bob.
Secretary of the Army, head of public trust, the delegate to leadership or something like that.
You've been promoted once or twice, congratulations. So, no, that's right, so talent management, it's a complement, all right? It's supposed to complement development, all right? So, so what talent management is, it's what the Army does, all the way down to the leadership level, our level, that we manage talent in order to develop leaders. So we look at where people are talented, and we figure out, hey, how do we best develop them so the Army can best utilize their talents throughout different duty positions and things like that. Sometimes that means getting different jobs that are outside of your typical scope of work. Like maybe if you're an infantryman, taking you and having you be a battalion S4 because someone sees value in you and learning the supply side of things, right? Because maybe even right then you're like, man, this sucks. Why didn't I get picked for a cooler job? When someone's actually looking at you and saying, hey, actually, what I'm doing is I'm looking further down the road because being a battalion S4 is going to prepare you to be a better battalion XO. Things like that, okay?
That makes a lot of sense at your level, but when they're like, yeah, you're gonna go command an STB, it's like, what the hell are you talking about? Okay.
So I was gonna ask a question, is it really like that?
Yeah.
Is it really,
Yeah.
do you really sit down and say, hey, I'm gonna put you in this position for various?
Are we not doing it right now?
That's exactly what we're doing now.
Are we?
Are we not doing it right now?
Are we not, did we not put you in the key developmental positions in this organization to continue your development? What do you think? Yeah.
No, I'm just to answer Buck's question, sir. I feel being an NCO and seeing how that works,
Yeah.
it's mind blowing to think that officers actually look that far forward and try to develop you in that way.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. That is one of the hardest transitions between an NCO and an officer, is seeing this whole versus this whole.
Yes, sir, yeah, it's just, somebody cares about me that much to look at my future like that.
Yeah.
I actually would notice that with officers too, sir. I would notice that when the officer of mine, like, they had conversation, and I was like, wow, if they really care, like this conversation, care about the career. And I was like, how we didn't get that on the enlisted side, but they actually took the time to discuss the duty positions and assignments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's a critical part of our job. It's a part of leadership development, okay? All right, so why do officers do it? The reason I bring this up, team, is because I know that whenever you guys figure out where you're going and things like that, this is what the Army just does and how they decide on where to place people, all right? Okay? So, we have unit priorities at the mission level, so down at the brigade level. We have guidance from the Army, okay? We have to look at how many officers that are across the board, all right? And then where the authorizations can be allocated, okay? So, your part of it, your request.
You just have to tell me then.
Yes, sir. Please, sir. So when the Army moves people around, your considerations are taken into place, but you gotta look at where the missions are, okay? So what we have here is we have every unit falls into one of these 5 categories, okay? And they are authorized a percentage fill. For example, Cadet Command, this unit, we are authorized to fill up to 70%. So what that means is that if we are at 70% or higher,
For cadre.
for cadre,
For us.
if we're at 70% or higher, the Army has no responsibility whatsoever to man us with any more people.
You're good.
That's it. They're like, yep, you're good with 70%. Enjoy. Figure it out. Okay? That's important forces, right? Thrive in chaos. That's right. Okay? And then it goes all the way up to directed fill, or rotational units, people that are, units that are actually going to go overseas. Who's been on deployment before, right? And all of a sudden, right before you go, you get a whole bunch of brand new people get shoved into the unit, right? All of a sudden, trying to get you up to that 95% to get you ready to go.
So is that why I say FML requirements?
Sorry? Oh, yes. That is definitely one way to describe that. Excellent. Took me a minute. So, okay, all right, and here's all the percentages in between.
Do you have what the Chief Staff of the Army is saying is a priority fills for officers right now?
Not for the alarms.
Remember we were talking about like Korea? We had
Oh.
that slide?
No, I don't have this slide on here, so yeah.
We'll get that. Last year we had, I think it's still good information, but, so it's interesting to know what the Army's priority is right now, and last year it was Korea. So, you know, if you were a civil
It's
lieutenant,
still
I
Korea.
think it is still
Last
Korea.
year.
What were the other ones?
It's still Korea, it's, individual augmentees,
Yeah,
and then, rotate, and then,
listen, it wasn't Vicenza, Italy, and,
or Hawaii.
or Hawaii.
No, there's Germany,
I don't know, we'll get that and get that out to you guys. Going?
Okay, so, here's how officers get us, so this is gonna help us segue into the ORB, all right, because I only got a little bit more time, okay? So this is how the officer, not just engineer officers, but all officers get assigned, okay? This is a lot of stuff on this slide, all right, I'm gonna explain it here. First thing is the ORB, all right? What ends up happening is that anyone that has access can pull down anyone's ORB at any time. At any time. So having this document that you have in front of you ready, accurate, all the time is incredibly important. I'll give you an example, okay?
I'll give you an example. I pulled down Captain Morgan before I hired him here. Just to see what kind of officer, just to see the attention to detail, and that's what I got. So I'm like, oh, wait a minute, this is the guy. Right? What does that tell me right away? I'm like, hey, I need to call this guy, right? So what does that tell you, right? If it was blank, and it had, you know, a bunch of crap on it, and the picture was from 1985, right? He was wearing his, you know, his kit from freaking, right? What am I gonna say? Oh, what am I gonna, all right. Oh, yeah, Back to the Future, I'm like, next. That's tomorrow, by the way. Okay?
So, so when I was in Afghanistan with, when I was commanding in 1st Ranger Battalion, when I had Echo Company there, some of my fellow company commanders were majors, and they were finding out whether or not they're going to go to ILE. ILE is basically BOLIC for majors, okay? It's a very important thing to go what we call resident ILE, because it's not like BOLIC for you guys, where everyone gets to go. Only the top 50% get to go. And that is a gate. That is a gate for discrimination on whether or not people are going to be more competitive or not for battalion command.
Oh,
So
no,
normally-
Lieutenant Colonel.
Sorry, oh yeah, for Lieutenant Colonel.
Yeah, not Lieutenant Colonel, but Lieutenant Colonel.
So part of that, what they typically do is it comes out along with the promotion board to major. But since this is the first time that they are doing it, the Army had to figure out how to do it quick. So you know what they did? They just pulled ORBs. Pulled ORBs, and 2 weeks later said, here's your, you know, you're going or you're not. Just based on that one file there and whether or not they were actually prepared. Okay, so it's incredibly important.
And Gap Wardens will come out here, how many weeks we got left?
I need to change every 2 weeks or it's the end of
Yeah, so
the
Gap Wardens board met, and the results will be published whether or not he's gonna be a major and get resident ILE. So that's coming up, just like Captain Androff made major, so.
Alright, so along with the ORB, the Army also considers readiness. Those fills that we were talking about, so whatever the Army needs, right? Army needs, Army gets, right? Okay? And then this is your vote. So expectations, okay? What do you want? Alright, where do you want to vote, okay? And then where the Army looks at you, where your branch manager specifically looks at you for leadership development, okay? Getting you those key positions that are going to make you a better officer, a more well-rounded officer, alright? So the best way I like to look at this is imagine there's a gear shift sticking right here, okay? It's sticking out of this triangle, okay? And you've got the Army's trying to pull it in this direction. Your branch manager's trying to pull it in this direction, you're trying to pull it in this direction, and what we all try to do, what the Army tries to do is get it kind of in the center so that way everyone's more or less happy, all right? So it's an incredibly tough job that they got. So that's kind of why people get what they do, what they want sometimes and when they don't. And there's a career timeline. The only one that you guys need to worry about is right in here, okay? BOLIC, 1st and 2nd lieutenant, and then up to when you're gonna end up going to the career course, all right? So right now, 1st lieutenant, promotion to 1st lieutenant is about 18 months, and it sticks with that, okay? And then 4 years for captain, and then you'll be a captain forever, okay? For a really long time. But it's the best rank in the world, I'll tell you, I love it, all right? Okay? Slide, please.
Okay.
There's more. All right. On here, there's a bunch of different opportunities that you have, broadening, developmental things that you can do while you're a lieutenant, okay, after bowling. Key developmental position, the Army wants you to be a platoon leader.
Is this what you guys were kind of missing for your 5-year plans?
I kind of figured it
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
All right, keep going.
But after that, you can go be a company XO, you can be on battalion staff. There's a whole bunch of different things. If you're an infantryman, you can go be a scout platoon leader, all right? Or there's a whole bunch of different things that you can do out there that you can do as broad. So the key thing is that when are you filling those broadening assignments, and when are you actually doing those key developmental positions?
But what I always want you to remember is this gonna continue to make me competitive with my peers? If I'm a platoon leader for 18 months, is that a good thing? What do you think? If the normal platoon leader time is how long?
A year?
A year. So if you've been a platoon leader now for 18 months, is that a good thing? Okay, why does it depend?
Because you could have a platoon for a year, sir, then the next 6 months you can take over a specialty platoon.
Okay, I'm not talking about transitioning, I'm talking
Just
about
one
the platoon.
platoon,
One
18
platoon,
months.
yeah. I'm not talking about taking another platoon and becoming a special platoon leader. I'm talking about, I have been a platoon leader in this platoon for 18 months. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? When?
I would say a bad thing, sir, is that means you're missing out on 6 months of possibly doing something else,
Okay,
like broad area.
okay. I want you to understand that. If your battalion commander has kept you in to be a platoon leader, and you've already gone past the 12-month mark, and you're in like month 14, you need to ask yourself, what the hell am I doing wrong? Okay? Because they're leaving you there to continue to develop you. You're not ready to be an XO yet. That's how we think. That's what we're looking at. Okay? Sometimes it's circumstantial, but I promise you, if you're over in a platoon leader for more than 12 months, okay, like 13, 14, maybe 13, 14 is okay, but if you're like in the 16-month mark, then you're there because, you're not competitive with your peers, and we're still trying to develop you into being a little more responsible for equipment and whatnot to be an XO. Does that make sense? Or you're never gonna be an XO, yeah.
So what's the flip side to that, sir? What if you are extremely competitive and they bump you out of a platoon leader position in 6 months, make
Yeah.
you an XO, now you don't get standard
I
full
agree,
1
and
year
that
platoon leader time?
sucks, and that sucks, but, I would have, the word up there, what is it?
Communication.
Communication, I would go in and talk to my battalion commander and say, sir, ma'am, I understand that you're pulling me out to be an XO, is there a chance I could be a specialty platoon leader? Is there a chance potentially down the road after I do this XO time, I can, you know what I mean? Cause they care, and they want you to be competitive the same, okay? I have never really seen anyone get pulled out of 6 months, at 6 months, cause normally it's 12 months. Normally they keep you there for 12 months.
Okay.
So, have you seen that, or is it a special
No,
circumstance?
it's just,
Yeah, normally it's gonna be 12 months, guys, okay, that qualifies you to move on to bigger and better things. Okay, go ahead.
All right, the last thing before we get into the ORB, we're running out of time. All right, so broadening, all right? You're gonna start hearing this a lot more. So you have 5 different areas that the Army looks at you to make sure you're what we consider a well-rounded officer, a broadened officer, okay? You have your operational, which everyone goes into, right? So that's in your brigade combat teams, your battalions and stuff like that, okay? Then you have institutionals. Okay? This is considered an institutional assignment for broadening, okay? So the ROTC right there, all right? Then you have JIM, which is the Joint Intergovernmental and multinational environment, if I remember that correctly. So that would be like a NATO assignment, or the joint staff, okay? There's a number of different internships or fellowships that you go to be a part of that, some sort of a joint tour. Then academia, all right, you can go back to school, get your master's, or any number of different things. GradSo is one of those. And then strategic broadening, so say for like an engineer like me, going to USACE, okay? Or going up to HRC, so Human Resources Command, where they do this kind of stuff and help manage the talent.
Just remember this, you are responsible for your own career, and there are so many awesome opportunities to go back to school, to go see the world, to go do something crazy, okay? Get on the HRC website, look at the broadening information on there. There's stuff for first lieutenants on there, okay? There's Olmsted Scholars, where you're gonna go to Europe or whatever country, live that country for 2 years, learn the language, and then get assigned there. I mean, there's all kinds of crazy awesome stuff, okay? Don't just think I have to stay tactical my entire career, okay?
All right, team, has everyone got one of my ORBs out in front of them?
So was I right when I came in? Yes, I was. Get one in the back. Question?
You need one? Yeah. Is there an next one around here? Should have been.
Oh, yeah.
Just pass it back. Okay, guys, so hey, I understand that a lot of this is kind of tough to read. That's why I printed it out for you, and that way you can take notes as you go along here, all right? This is actually a class that I would teach my officers when I was a company commander to help them out. All right, so we're gonna go through this step by step. It's gonna be dry, all right? It's gonna be dry. We're only gonna have to survive 15 minutes of it, okay? But it's very, very important, all right? So at the upper right-hand corner, you see right here, ORB type, it says 2900. All that code is right there, that just means, hey, this is why this is being printed off. 2900 means that I'm printing it off for my own self-view. If there's different codes up there, if it's getting printed off for a board, if it's being printed off by someone else for any number of different considerations, okay? After that, that's the date that it was actually printed for the brief date. And then functional category. I'm in operations, all right? What that is, it'll pertain specifically to your, not MOS, your branch, okay? And a bunch of different branches are grouped together in something similar like this, like operations. The thing you need to know about that is your competitive group. That is the group that you compete against for promotions.
That's important, because, you know, if you're in operations, you got infantry officers, you got, you know, all the operational guys, and chemical, by the way. No, so chemical officers compete against infantry, it's really an interesting dynamic, I don't know why they, but you need to know that, so you're not just competing against, you know, I'm not competing against the logisticians. If you're a log dude, have a nice day, man, I care less, okay? But if you're infantry, I'm competing, you know, for, you know, you and I are brothers, but, you know, we're competing for that scout platoon. Because I want that damn scout platoon, okay? Go ahead.
All right, to one over from that, control branch, that just says, hey, I'm an engineer, that's your branch, okay? Below that, there's an open space, that's if you're a branch detail, if someone adds codes for branch detail, you'll actually see that below that branch.